10-gallon wiener. That's right, I got the meat.
Sounds like you want to die.
Hi there, everyone. Scott and Lars back with another Dandadan review and analysis brought to you by Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors by novice authors. And because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And holy Godzilla! This is where we are now at. We've got Godzilla, but 20% different. So that way there's no copyright infringements.
We also have cringy nerds in the comments, and we're not sure how to deal with them. Let's get into that episode review.
All right. So this episode opens up with a character that for anime onlys probably never expected a guy like this coming along, Kinta. This absolute weird nerd guy who does everything with the most extra energy possible. We see him get ready for school, go to school, and then find out that the other nerd in his class, Okaroon, who has been taking all of the heat, is now together with Momo Ayase. He's like, I must know the secrets. And so in a sequence that is anime original, this is not from the manga, we get Kinta trying to spy on Okaroon and Momo to learn the secrets. So that way he can get all the hot chicks. But he, just like Momo and Okaroon, keep missing them during lunch, and he is treated like an absolute wallflower the entire time. So much so that when we get to see things from his perspective, we realize he was even closer than Momo's friends, but everyone just saw straight through him, didn't even acknowledge he was there because the guy is just that much of a wallflower. So he finally is like, okay, I must know Ken Takakura's secrets. And he tries to get Okaroon's attention with the nerdy stuff, passing by him, making noises, making eyes, showing off books. Okaroon's not paying any attention, so he finally just comes straight out and he's just like, I see you. You are my enemy. And Okaroon's like, who even are you? Which is perfect because that is literally how everyone will treat this guy for the longest time to come because he's such a wallflower. At the same time, Momo shows up and he's like, I will now finally learn the secrets. And she's all like, hey, I found your golden ball. And immediately people are taking it all kinds of weird ways. He's like, this is the secret. I must do spicy talk. And we get a showdown between Momo and the class president, the class rep, who's like, no, you're being mean to Takakura. You gotta leave him be. He's obviously so flustered and so bullied by you. He doesn't want to go with you, but he's just doing it because you say so. So we get this full-on fight going on, which is really interesting to see. Okaroon has no idea what to do because he's like, I've never gotten this much attention from people in my own class before. Not even when he choked a guy. So, like, this is insane. And Kinta is getting jealous. And so he's finally like, this is the moment. Spicy talk. And he does the weirdest pose as he's like, 10-gallon wiener. They left out the line of 100% pure beef.
What?
No. And immediately everyone's just like, ah, who are you? No, wrong. And so Kinta goes back to just being ostracized by the rest of the class. We jump forward to Momo pitching a fit about dealing with the class rep, bad-mouthing her, and Okaroon is just like, look, I'm sorry I didn't say anything. I was just so caught off guard. No one's ever paid this much attention to me before. To which Momo replies with, well, it's because you're popular. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm popular now? And it's a sweet moment between the two of them because Okaroon, like, you look at him, he's actually getting more fit. If you're paying attention, he's getting muscular. He's getting a track bod. And with the way he's now got his flyaway hair, like, he looks cool. And I think Momo realizes if I don't do anything about this, there's going to be other girls who are going to try to snatch this guy away because she's got a crush on him. The cutesy moment is interrupted by Kinta, who's been stalking them, trying to learn the secrets of spicy talk, and then the fact that the golden ball shows up and hurls Kinta at them. And thus ensues a chase across this apartment complex that just gets brutalized. Thankfully, in the zero space, otherwise there'd be a lot of very dead or hurt people with how much damage is done. As Okaroon, Momo, and Kinta are begrudgingly working together to catch the golden ball, Kinta realizes that it's using a particular kind of optical illusion technology. If you can fool it by having too many people look at it from different angles, it will get confused and will then reveal what's really underneath, revealing ultimately a dragonish kaiju. Though at the moment they don't quite realize that until they've knocked it out of the apartment complex, and like, well, the gold ball disappeared. It went into the kaiju. Let's go down and get out the ball. Which, here's the thing, if you've got magical powers, you might as well just take the easy way and get down as fast as possible, because when they go to take the stairs, that gives the kaiju enough time to power up and grow to the size of the apartment complex. And we end with a cliffhanger of this thing getting ready to just wreck shop. And that was pretty much the episode.
So we want to start with the actual kaiju, or do we want to start with the cringy kaiju in the room?
You know what? I want to start off with the actual kaiju.
I fully agree, because it's super fascinating seeing this, because like we know the story goes alien spirit, alien spirit, alien spirit, and the last one dealing with Evil Eye was really focused on the spirit side of things, and then now we're getting into alien side of things, but we're having to deal with Okaroon's missing ball, and I feel like that just adding in the missing ball into that equation makes it so much more interesting and complicated at the same time.
Because we know, thanks to what happened with Ira, that that someone who has the golden ball will immediately change them in some kind of way. Gives them the ability to see and interact with the yokai, which we know the aliens have a difficult time trying to invade Earth because of the monsters and spirits on Earth. To the aliens, it's just way too powerful. And so having the golden ball could be the key to unlocking the means to defeat the yokai.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I don't know though, like even though there's some really sophisticated technology in this kaiju creature, I'm still, and this is just what I've based off of this episode. I haven't read ahead. I don't know if this is actually the case, and you can confirm or deny, or just like let me keep thinking this. But like, it very much feels like the giant worm in the previous arc, where this is a beast. This is a creature. This isn't quite as sentient, but it's all about survival, and it's found something to help it survive. And people are chasing after it, so of course it's going to fight back and try to run away.
Hold on to the survival idea.
Okay.
Hold on to the survival idea, because you're thinking along you're thinking along the right lines. You're just missing some crucial information, but you're on the right track.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. But like, it's super interesting seeing like, okay, they have to deal with the invisibility. All they can see is the ball. Okay, that's great. And apparently, like, anybody can see the ball. Kinta doesn't seem to have any issue picking that up as well. Though then again, Ida originally was able to see it too.
So there's actually the second time I watched this, I started laughing. I started laughing really loudly because it suddenly clicked what was actually going on there with the ball. In terms of like, oh, people can see the ball, but they have such a hard time catching it, and like there's this invisible force and whatnot. This is a direct allusion to some of the really crazy stuff surrounding the lore of floating orbs. So, like, if you dive into the lore of alien sightings, there's a lot of stories about floating orbs.
Yeah.
And that whenever anyone tries to get close, violent things happen to them. and people swear they can see other things, but it's either so distorted or stuff seems invisible that they can't tell what it is. And so this episode is paying homage to those orb sightings before
Okay.
pulling the rug out from under you and saying it's a kaiju. Psych.
I mean, that's still pretty fun though.
Yeah, it is pretty fun, but continue on because I kind of derailed you a little bit right there, but I had to be
No,
like,
you're
oh yeah,
good.
no, this is what they're doing here.
It's just fun overall. Like I really enjoyed this. Like they're breaking through the walls. They're having to like run through the middle of this donchi trying to survive and like not get taken out, but also catch this mysterious invisible creature at the same time. And it's the goofy fun action that Dandadan's really well known for. So I really like this. And like I mean, I feel sad that they're destroying this government housing apartment complex like that, but like at the same time, it's hilarious to see them just like have to treat it like a jungle gym.
Yeah, but it's not going to remain trash forever because they are in the weird like zero space or whatever it is they call it that the aliens use.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
See, suddenly a lot of this makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize that was the case, and now that you've said that is like, you know what? A lot of the shenanigans and like stuff that just happened, yeah, that makes sense.
So there's no families that are now suddenly going to get turned out and be homeless, and no one died during the crazy like bashing through all the walls sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it even funnier than that Okaroon's actually ringing the doorbell because it then makes you wonder if he realizes that they're in the space
I
or
don't think he
not.
did. I seriously don't think he did. I do like how it's like, okay, we've spent so much of this time, this episode specifically, introducing this new character and then throwing them into the middle of everything that's happening. And he's able to contribute. And I like it when they have a character, like, especially in the story where, like, action's such a prevalent part of the story. I love when they have a character that isn't they're not there for the fight. They're not there because like they're not a fighter, but they're able to help in ways that help the people who are actually fighting solve the issue that's involved. And I'm thinking specifically of Blood Blockade Battlefront, where the main character literally has no like real way to fight all of the crazy stuff that's happening around it. But like he's the funnest character because he's the one having to deal with the insanity around him. And this very much feels kind of the same way with Kinta in this case. He's like completely boggled that like all of this crazy supernatural stuff that he's only really read about up this point is happening, and he's like, I can be useful for once. This is fantastic.
Yeah, he finally has that moment to be the hero. And the interesting thing, like to draw comparisons between him and Okaroon, is that he absolutely buys into it. He wants to be the hero. And when we think back to Okaroon and the inciting incident between him and Momo going against Turbo Granny and everything, Okaroon wasn't trying to be the hero at all. He was just happy that he finally found someone who might be a friend. And he's just sticking to it.
Which is precious.
Yeah, it is precious.
Which is so nice. Which, to clarify something, and we could probably move on to the cringy kaiju I was mentioning earlier, is one of the biggest differences between Okaroon and Kinta, because you can definitely see some major similarities between the characters, similar interests, similar kind of dress and vibe and that kind of stuff. But like Okaroon originally and still to this day, he just wanted a friend. He wanted somebody to get along with, to spend the spring of his youth around and hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely found that, like quite a few of people actually. It's been really entertaining to see that happen and really heartwarming at the same time. Kinta, on the other hand, and you said this straight off the bat when we were introducing the character, the only reason he's trying to get close to Okaroon is to find out how he's got Momo and Ida, two of the prettiest girls in school, suddenly all interested in his attention now. Like, that is Kinta's entire motivation. And to me, at least, it kind of makes me frustrated with his character. Because, like, otherwise he'd just be this cringy, but, like, misunderstood nerd kind of idea. But yeah, he's got a little bit of irredeemability about it. But I do fully understand why I get so frustrated with Kinta, and it's mainly because I see myself in him in several different instances, and I don't like what I see.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, especially like for me, like when I look at Kinta, like I remember my time in high school, like when, for instance, as he's like all alone walking up the hill towards school before he joins the rest of the flow of the students, when he's like singing his song and he's getting all into it and everything, and then when he sees his classmates, he's just like gets really small and quiet. There was a time in high school where I was exactly like that as well. And he so badly wants to be the main protagonist, the hero, not just of his story, but of everyone else's stories. That's kind of the way that he views himself. And you can already get a good hint of that in this episode, that he wants to be the center of attention, which is the cruel irony is that he is the most forgettable in the class. So much so that Okaroon becomes that Okaroon's been the object of everyone's teasing.
Yeah, which I love your point of like why that's the case, because Okaroon, like you were saying earlier, Okaroon accepts who he is as a nerd. He's just lonely, and that's kind of what pushes him into the inciting incident. Kinta, on the other hand, belongs. Well, first gets a bonk on the head, and then gets taken to horny jail.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, and this is the big difference between Okaroon and Kinta. Like, really going forward in this arc, and really throughout the manga, is that Okaroon is who he is. He's unabashedly who he is, and and as the story goes on, he becomes even more and more comfortable with who he is. He doesn't need to be the main character or the hero. The main character is very easily Momo. Okaroon is the guy who can easily step in to be the hero because he loves his friends so much and because he's just honestly a good guy. Kinta wants so desperately to be the hero, and we're going to see this play out where he's going to constantly try to insert himself into the hero role and screw up again and again and again. There is a reason why many of the fans of the manga love this guy, because he is the classic. He basically weds together two classics of shonen archetypes, of the hero who constantly fails until the moment where they get suddenly good, and then they save the day because they got good, combined with the stereotype of the horny bastard who just always gets away with it somehow. And that's kind of Kinta merged together, except that because no one likes him, he gets his comeuppance quite often. So it feels like it's justified letting him be as openly horny and weird as he is. So that's one of the reasons why people like him. And then there's others, but that's also at the same time the reason why a lot of people are just going to be like, I don't know what to think about this guy. Let me just say that Kinta's either going to grow on you or he won't. It's not like Gigi, where Gigi's a lot to handle, but you come to realize just how sweet he is, and it becomes hard not to like him. Kinta is different. I'll just say that. Kinta is different. By the end, you'll either like him or you won't. And I'm not going to say that you should like him or hate him one way or the other. That's up to each individual person. I will say that Kinta took a long time to grow on me, but by this point where we are in the manga, I'm like, okay, you deserve your spot in the group.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. It's just, oh man, that whole display at the beginning, and I've seen people do this before. Like I had way too much social anxiety to even think of trying something like this, but I've seen people try I'm going to outwardly and pretty embarrassingly at the same time show off like my interests and whatnot, so people approach me, so people will like want to get close to me to become my friend. And I've never actually seen that work out necessarily. I mean, there's instances I'm sure where it's like, oh cool, you've got this shirt from like this band or this show, like I want to talk to you about it. But like with how brazen and like in your face he is about it, but like also not willing to just go up and talk to somebody, like he's going about it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
very obvious.
and it comes back down to the fact that he's just doing this because he wants to learn how to pick up girls. A lot of the time that people do this, what Kinta does in real life, they do it not to find their fellow nerds, but to find that hot chick or that hot guy who just happens to have the same interests as they do. And that they hope that will be the connection, will bring us together, and then you'll realize how wonderful I am. And like you said, it maybe somewhere it's worked out, but in all the instances I can think of, having seen the same stuff myself, I'm like, it doesn't really work out. And and again, the difference between Okaroon and Kinta. So let's actually hop back again to the first episode. When Momo steps in, she's stepping in primarily because she's looking to pick a fight. She wants to fight someone. And when the bullies in Okaroon's class don't give her that fight, she gets up and leaves. Okaroon's like, friend? Like, and even though he admits later on, like, I knew you probably weren't interested, but it was like someone finally did something nice for me. How could I how could I let that moment pass me by? Okaroon follows her, and they get into an argument, and which leads to them having that crazy dare. The difference between Okaroon and Kinta, and this will become clear moving on, is that during the dare, Okaroon talks with Momo. Not to Momo, with Momo. He listens. He pays attention. And while he's not graceful on his feet in any kind of way at that time, he makes the right step, which is first be a friend. Kinta, as we're going to see, goes in a different direction. And it takes him a long time, I think, before he begins to realize that friendship was the right first move to make. Why do the girls like Okaroon? Momo started liking Okaroon because he was just a friendly, good guy. That was why she continued talking to him. Ira comes back, even though she has insane prejudice against Momo and a hero complex and a complete misunderstanding of what's going on, because she sees that Okaroon is a good guy and is friendly. And that's what got these girls to stick around just long enough to get to know him and like him. And that's what Kinta's missing, because he's so focused on the raging snake downstairs that he's not that the spiciness, spicy speak is the only thing he can focus on. And he's being flat out told by two characters, by the girl and by the guy, no, stop it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going on more there going forward. But I'm excited to see how they handle this giant freaking kaiju, this Godzilla, because yeah, that's scary in and of its own right. Like your regular human side, and suddenly you're like an ant compared to this being in front of you, and you're like, how do I deal with that?
Oh my gosh.
Especially when you got like Okaroon's abilities, who are like very specifically physical in nature.
Yeah, it's good. It's gonna be a good fight. There is actually something I do want to quickly bring up. I think before we wrap it up, and that's my joke at the beginning about Godzilla, but 20% different. So this is kind of a gag in Hollywood about how you can get away with things if you make them 20% different. So, like for instance, the new Star Trek franchise got away without having to pay royalties to certain people because they were able to argue that they had altered the original design just enough that it had become something new. And the saying was 20% different. It was 20% different. It's different enough that it has become an original thing. And this is done all the time. It's not just J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman being really lazy with their Star Trek revival. It happens all the time in manga as well. How many stories are basically carbon copies of each other, but they're just different enough that you're like, it's derivative, but it's something else, I guess. And it just happens all the time. And interestingly, you can even argue that sometimes some creators actually go the 20% different route to overcome copyright issues with themselves. Odor of the Flame, so Kawaguchi, the mangaka for Odor of the Flame, is literally recycling characters from Hunter's Guild, his own story. That was shut down by Shonen because it wasn't popular enough, apparently. And so kind of his like middle finger to Shonen is that he's reappropriating his characters. But they're 20% different, just enough that they seem like completely different characters. But if you've read Hunter's Guild and you read Odor of the Flame, Velu and Odor are the exact same character. Their design is just slightly different. Odor's got short hair, Velu's got long hair in a braid.
Nice.
Velu's got more muscle on him than Odor does. So yeah, 20% difference.
Nice, I love it.
So yeah, 20% different. Do I condone it? No. But if you're going to rip someone off, 20% different. That's the key.
Yeah. Well, there's like so much different like Godzilla derivative stuff out there in the first place, so it's like it's not new ground in that sense. I love we're getting Dandadan's like original take on this, and that's great. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. Next episode is going to be fun. Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right. So, at this point, that's basically all that we've had to say on this particular episode. We now want to hear from you in the comments what you thought. What did you think of Kinta's introduction? Was he too cringe? Was he just right? Is he the hero that you've been looking for? What do you think of this introduction to a 20% different Godzilla? And also, what do you think of how Okaroon is becoming more popular? We want to hear from you guys in the comments. And if you'd like to support what we do here, please leave us a like as well. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And check out the books that we've published. Links for all of them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this insanely fun writing adventure. And until the next time, y'all, watch out for kaijus and juice.
Okini.